Savita and welcome to my sewing studio. In this video I'll show you how to make this vest. First I'll quickly show you how to make the pattern, then I'll show you how to cut the fabric, and then I'll be sewing the vest with invisible seams. This vest is 15 inches long. You can decide on the length that you want, and the shape I've given is curved. You can make it straight if you want to, and also you can reduce the gap here in between, and the inside seams are invisible. And this is how the back looks. Let's start with the pattern. This is a basic body sloper. Now if you don't know how to draft this, please refer to my previous video on how to draft a body sloper. The link is given on the screen. Now we'll be using the same pattern to make pattern for the vest. I'll show you what changes to make to the same pattern to make a vest. So first of all, the length. The length I want is 15 inches. That is still my waist point. So this would be the end line. So I'll just darken it so that you can see clearly. So this is the length of my vest till my waistline, 15 inches. Now the back would remain the same, 1 inch deep, that is 1 inch down from the shoulder line. This is my shoulder line. Now I'll make a small change here also. I don't want the shoulder to be this wide for my vest, so I'll just mark 1 inch in from the end point, and then draw a curve blending to the front armhole curve. So this is where I'll be cutting my pattern. This will be my front as well as my back armhole. I won't give back and front difference because there is no sleeve attachment. So this is my front and back armhole. Now this would be the back of my vest. Now the design of my vest is, so this is how my vest would be. The front would have this shape. To give this shape, first decide on the gap you want in the middle, in the center front, and mark half of it. If you want a 2-inch gap in the center, mark 1 inch here on the bust line. And then from the neck width point, that is 2.75, shape it as you would want it. You can make it straight. Now here also I want to give a slight curve, and then I'll blend it to the waistline. So this is the shape I want for my front, and back would be straight. So we are done with the pattern. Now cut as per the outermost line. Now this is how we'll be cutting the pattern. Cut as per the waistline. Now the armhole I'm cutting is common for both front and back. Now again, this is optional. You can retain the original pattern of armhole. Now to the same vest, if you want to attach sleeves, then retain the original armhole. But this vest, as I'm making it sleeveless, and also I don't want my shoulder to be wider, I'm just cutting off this part. Now front you do not cut, we'll be tracing it on the fabric. So our pattern is ready. Now I'll show you how to cut the fabric. First I'll be cutting the lining fabric. So I've shown how to fold the fabric in one of my previous videos. This is selvage. I'm keeping selvage on selvage. Fold towards me. So I'm cutting only the back first, and then we'll be cutting the front on the other side. So take your pattern, keep the center line aligned with the fold. Now back will not have an opening, so it's kept on fold, but when we do the front, when we cut the front, we'll be keeping it on the open side. Now pin it in place. Now I'm cutting only the back. First I'll mark the outline. Now this is my body measurement plus whatever ease I've given. Now we need to give the seam allowance. Normally at the neckline we give 1/4 inch seam allowance, but now I'll give 1 centimeter because the main fabric what I'm using is raw silk and it frays a lot. So just to be on a safer side, I'm giving more seam allowance. You can stick to the normal seam allowance like I had shown in my previous video. Armhole also I'm giving 1 centimeter. Sides I'm giving 1/2 inch. And bottom I'll be giving 1/2 inch. Now I'll be cutting this. This is where I'll be starting to stitch the side seam, so I'll make a small knot there. Okay, the back is done. Remove the pins. This is my back in lining. Let's cut the lining for front. Always iron your fabric before cutting or laying the pattern on it. Now I'm placing the pattern on the open side, the selvage side, because the front does not need to be kept on fold as it's open. And also this way I save fabric. So I'll align the center of the pattern to the selvage, pin it in place. Now mark the shoulder, armhole, side seam and the straight part of the waist. A little here. Now this curve I'm not able to mark with the marker. That's when I'll use the tracing wheel. Hold it firm with your forefinger inside and trace that part which you are not able to mark with the marker. Now once you have done this, remove the pins. Just to make it more visible, I'll mark it with the marker. Now give seam allowance like given for the back. 1 centimeter on the shoulder, 1 centimeter for the armhole, 1/2 inch for the side seam, 1 centimeter for the front, so it's done. Now cut as per the outermost line. Notch at the beginning of the side seam, so it's easier when you stitch. So the front cutting is done. This is my back and this is my front. There will be a opening here, gap here. Now I will cut the main fabric exactly same as this.